It's a cat-eat-mouse world, tracking the food chain from bacteria to man. By National Geographic Partners, adapted by Newsela staff. Every living thing, from tiny algae to giant blue whales, needs food to survive. The food chain describes who eats whom in the wild. Each food chain is a possible pathway that energy and nutrients can follow through the ecosystem. An ecosystem is the network of all the living and non-living things in an area. Here's a food chain example. Grass produces its own food from sunlight. A rabbit eats the grass. Then a fox eats the rabbit. When the fox dies, bacteria will break down the fox's body, returning it to the soil. There, it provides nutrients for plants like grass. Categorizing the food web. Of course, many different animals eat grass, and rabbits can eat other plants besides grass. Foxes, in turn, can eat many types of animals and plants. Each of these living things can be a part of multiple food chains. All of the interconnected and overlapping food chains in an ecosystem make up a food web. Organisms and food chains are grouped into categories called trophic levels. Roughly speaking, these levels are divided into producers, or the first trophic level, consumers, the second, third, and fourth trophic levels, and decomposers. Producers, also known as autotrophs, make their own food. They make up the first level of every food chain. Autotrophs are usually plants or one-celled organisms. Nearly all autotrophs use a process called photosynthesis to create food, a nutrient called glucose, from sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. Plants are the most familiar type of autotroph, but there are many other kinds. Algae, whose larger forms are known as seaweed, are autotrophic. Phytoplankton, tiny organisms that live in the ocean, are also autotrophs. Some types of bacteria are autotrophs. For example, bacteria living in active volcanoes use compounds of the chemical sulfur to produce their own food. This process is called chemosynthesis. The second trophic level consists of organisms that eat the producers. These are called primary consumers, or herbivores. Deer, turtles, and many types of birds are herbivores. Secondary consumers eat the herbivores. Tertiary consumers eat the secondary consumers. There are many more levels of consumers before a chain finally reaches its top predator. Top predators, also called apex predators, eat other consumers. Consumers can be carnivores, or animals that eat other animals, or omnivores, animals that eat both plants and animals. People are omnivores. Like all omnivores, they consume many types of foods. People eat plants, such as vegetables and fruits. We also eat animals and animal products, such as meat, milk, and eggs. We eat fungi, such as mushrooms. We also eat algae and edible seaweeds like nori, which is used to wrap sushi rolls. Detritivores and decomposers are the final part of food chains. Detritivores are organisms that eat non-living plant and animal remains. For example, scavengers, such as vultures, eat dead animals. Dung beetles eat animal poop. Decomposers, like fungi and bacteria, complete the food chain. They turn organic wastes, such as decaying plants, into inorganic materials, such as nutrient-rich soil. Decomposers complete the cycle of life, returning nutrients to the soil or oceans for use by autotrophs. This starts a whole new food chain. Ecosystem pathways. Different habitats and ecosystems provide many possible food chains that make up a food web. In one marine food chain, single-celled organisms called phytoplankton provide food for tiny shrimp called krill. Krill provide the main food source for the blue whale. The whale is on the third trophic level. In a grassland ecosystem, a grasshopper might eat grass, a producer. The grasshopper might get eaten by a rat, which in turn is consumed by a snake. Finally, a hawk, an apex predator, swoops down and snatches up the snake. In a pond, the autotroph might be algae. A mosquito larvae eats the algae. Then perhaps a dragonfly larvae eats the young mosquito. The dragonfly larvae becomes food for a fish, which provides a tasty meal for a raccoon.